Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot in an Airbus type rating, and we're about to have a bad day. Today we'll have a look at the engine fire and damage after takeoff. So we are standing in the A320NEO at the moment at Heathrow's runway 27 right, ready for departure for a flight to Edinburgh. Small hint, I'm gonna take away that you will not see the marvelous views of Scotland today. So, let's have a look into the engine failure procedure. It's basically quite easy in the Airbus. When the airplane lifts off, we're going to experience an engine failure. Well, obviously we're going to use our rudder to counter it and to keep the airplane on control. But the good thing is that even if you did nothing, the airplane would not crash. But the fly-by-wire would continue to command your airplane to fly. And that's quite a cool feature in the A320. And the first thing you do when you start handling engine failures in your type rating, the first thing they do is a demo that just goes to show you that the airplane is not going to crash even if you do nothing. You are going to drift into the direction of the failed engine, but the plane is going to continue to fly. Alright, now let's talk about it in a little bit more serious manner. So if the engine failure happens, the pilot flying's task basically is to use the rudder to control the airplane to remain on the center line, or on the runway at least, and we are going to rotate using the normal rotation speed but to a slightly lower angle. So we are using about 12.5 degrees. When the airplane is in the air, we are going to apply rudder, and we need somewhere about 14 to 17 units of rudder trim in order to keep our airplane flying the way we want it to go. Now, in real life that's quite easy. You just don't even look at it, but you simply hold it for roughly 5 seconds. And you will immediately feel when the rudder pedals are trimmed out. And when that is the case, we can engage the autopilot. At 400 feet, pull heading and continue on the engine out SID. And then we start our ECAM actions. When the engine is secured, and engine secured means as much as with an engine damage or fire, we are going to obviously thrust levers idle, engine master switch off, engine fire push button pull, and agent discharge. Now, the engine is secured either when the fire is extinguished or when the fire is still burning but both agents are discharged. So that is going to conclude the engine securing. Once the engine is secured, we are going to climb up to the engine out acceleration altitude, which today is going to be 1,600 feet. And when we are there, push to level off, accelerate, retract flaps and schedule. Once the speed trend vector reaches green dot, we are going to pull for open climb. And once green dot is reached, we are going to put the thrust levers from the flex detent back down into the CL detent and back up into the flex MCT detent in order to get max continuous thrust. And that's basically it. Alright, are you ready for it? Then moving pictures often say more than 1,000 words, so let's go. Airbus 320, runway 27 right, cleared for takeoff. Takeoff. Man flag 74, SRS, runway, auto thrust blue. Thrust set. .100 knots, checked. V1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Okay. Engine 1 fire. Autopilot 1, Heading. Okay, with that our airplane is safely secured on the climb. So, ECAM actions. Engine 1 fire. Thrust lever 1 idle. Confirm. Thrust lever 1 confirmed. Idle. Engine master 1 off. Engine master 1 confirmed. Number 1 confirmed. Off. Engine fire push button 1 push. Okay, so fire. Engine 1 confirm. Engine 1 confirmed. Push. Okay. Agent 1 after 5 seconds discharge. Agent 1 discharge. Fire. Engine 1. Agent 1 discharge. ATC notify. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Airbus 320 engine failure. Proceeding on the runway heading. Standby. Okay, Agent 2 discharge. So, fire, engine 1, agent 2, discharge. You can see the fire is still burning, the switch is still illuminated, and the fire light down here is still on as well. Okay, engine secured. As you can see, it's still burning, but we have discharged both agents, and that is all we can do. So, from here on, we're going to climb all the way to the acceleration altitude. And here's a little note. We're currently doing only 300 feet a minute rate of climb, which is safe. We have calculated that prior to takeoff. However, we might want to climb a little bit better. And it is absolutely allowed to go to toga thrust on the remaining engine. Just be aware that it is going to accelerate quite rapidly and produce a lot of thrust quite rapidly. So you need to anticipate a little bit of a rolling moment. But let's do it now. Toga, thrust is coming up, and you can see the autopilot is countering it quite nicely. And you can immediately see our rate of climb going up here. Now 500, 600 feet a minute, very nice. Also, we can see the engine fire message has vanished, and the fire light has gone out, so the fire is extinguished. Okay, engine out, acceleration 1600, so we are going to continue to 1600. Push to level off. Flaps 1. Speed checked, flaps 1. Over here you can really see how long it takes for the airplane to accelerate, and that is quite expected. You need to keep in mind, we're flying a two-engined airplane, but when one engine fails, you do not only lose 50% of your thrust, but much rather, instead of previously having two devices under your wings producing power, all of a sudden you need to drag one of those devices along as it no longer is producing power. So you don't just lose 50% of thrust when an engine goes out, but more something in the region of about 80%. Okay, flap 0. Speed checked, flap 0. Okay, top of the trend vector reaches the green dot, open climb, and let's go to 3000 feet, 3000 blue. Okay, lever MCT is flashing, so thrust lever back in MCT, thrust MCT, auto thrust. Okay, 1000 to go. Checked. Then continue. Well, you know what? We are first going to level the airplane off at 3000, and then we are going to continue with the ECAM actions. At this point we can also make our life easy and just enter a direct to our engine out sit waypoint that we had marked up here already anyway. Okay, direct to insert, nav, speed alt star. For the purpose of the exercise, however, let's take the airplane into a right-hand downwind. So that's going to be a heading of 090. Alt. And now this is the part of fly, navigate, communicate completed. That's the fly part. So now the airplane is safely up into the air. We are navigating, we're turning onto downwind, communicate, we did inform ATC. Alright, so with that done, we can continue with our ECAM actions. Okay, so engine 1 failed. Engine start selector, ignition. So, engine start selector, ignition. If no damage, engine 1 relight consider. We did have damage, we had a fire, so we are not going to do that. Clear engine 1, clear engine 1. Engine 1 shutdown. If no fuel leak, imbalance monitor. Okay, let's have a look at the fuel page. The number 2 engine is running and the number 2 tank is 400 kilos lower than the number 1 tank. Also makes sense if we look at the fuel used values, so I'm not suspecting a fuel leak at this point. So imbalance, monitor. Do note it says monitor in the checklist and not fuel balance, because if you want to balance fuel, you need to apply the fuel balancing procedure from the QRH and not just blindly open the thrust feed valve. Okay, TCAS mode selector TA, so TCAS mode selector, TA only, thrust bleed, shut. Okay, air conditioning, thrust bleed, shut. And we do this in order to isolate the two systems from one another. Keep in mind, we just shot some fire extinguishing agents into the number 1 engine. So, in case anything of that finds its way through the bleed, we don't want that in our air conditioning system. Okay, avoid icing conditions. Clear engine 1, clear engine 1. Green hydraulic, green reservoir, low level. Okay, so hydraulic, green reservoir, low level, and the pressure is fluctuating. That is not a good sign. So the engine damage probably damaged some consecutive systems there. Okay, PTU off. So hydraulic, PTU off. Green engine 1 pump off. Hydraulic, green, engine 1 pump, off. Clear hydraulics, clear hydraulics. Okay, land ASAP in amber. Hydraulics, that's the green system dead. And the reservoir is low level, low pressure, so that's probably an indication of some further damage there. Clear hydraulic. Clear hydraulic. ELEC, generator 1 is offline, galley shed, as expected. Clear ELEC, clear ELEC. Bleed. Okay, engine number 1 has been disconnected from the bleed system, and the thrust bleed is closed. Clear bleed, clear bleed. Status. Okay, stop ECAM. So let's take a second to think about normal procedures. Are completed. System reset, none that we could do. Engine relight, certainly not after an engine fire. Okay, continue ECAM. Status. Landing distance procedure apply. 1 pack only if wing anti-air is on. Slats, flaps, slow. Cat 3 single only. Inoperative systems. Green hydraulic, spoilers 1 and 5, yaw damper 1, wing anti-ice, Cat 3 dual, normal brake, auto brake, landing gear retract, engine 1 bleed, reverser 1, pack 1, generator 1, green engine 1 pump. Remove starters, remove starters. ECAM actions complete. Alright, first thing I'm going to do now, once the actions are complete, is I will start the APU so that we get a second generator running. Next up, let's talk to the cabin crew. Responsible cabin manager to interphone, responsible cabin manager to interphone. So, obviously we aren't going to tell them anything over here. Nice to have these little notes though. Okay, so, hi there. We had an engine fire. We are going to return to London Heathrow. The remaining time is approximately 5 to 10 minutes, and the SOS demo is not required. Please read back. Okay, thank you, and we call you back. After lunch. Okay, cool. So with that, the cabin is also prepared, and we can start setting up our immediate re-landing at Heathrow Airport. So, let's go ahead and do it like that. New destination, London Heathrow. And that was just about the sound of the APU becoming available. So if we have a quick look into the airlock page, we can see the APU generator is now feeding AC bus number 1. However, if we have a look at the bleed page, bleed page, you will see that the cross feed is still closed. And we are going to keep that closed, and we are not going to use the APU to power the bleed number 1. The reason for that is that if we were to use the APU, and if any fire extinguishing agent has made it past the engine bleed valve, somewhere into here, then using APU bleed in order to power pack number 1 might cause that fire extinguishing agent to be dispersed into the cabin, and we don't want that. So we are not going to use the APU for any bleed air pressure here. This also becomes important, by the way, when you perform a go-around and you need extra thrust. So if that was to be the case, we would turn off the packs and thereby increase the engine thrust remaining on the remaining engine. However, if the faulty, or if the engine that burned was engine number 2, and we shut the cross bleed valve and the APU bleed is on, we could still power pack number 1 from the APU bleed. However, if we have a situation like we have it now, where the engine number 1 was the burning engine, so where the fire extinguishing agent is dispersed into engine number 1, then we cannot simply use the APU in order to pressurize or to power pack number 2 to relieve engine 2 and give us more thrust, because that would also power pack number 1, and that in turn could cause us problems again with the fire extinguishing agent. Alright then, let's go ahead and do a quick setup over here. So arrival is going to be 27 left, no star, no via, insert, direct to, center fix, 089, radial in. Let's see, does that look sensible? It kinda does. Okay, insert. Full heading. Okay, activate approach phase. 1018. Let's see if we've got some weather over here. Data not found. Current conditions 305 at 7, 19, 1018. Okay. So 19 and 305 at 7. Okay, minimum something in the region of about 290. And we're going to do config 3 approach, as it is going to make our go-around performance better. Auto brakes low. Don't work? Okay. On the A330 they work. But well, this is an A320, so no comment on that. Okay, cool. And that is our procedure so far completed, so we are basically ready for the approach. Let's review the status. Landing distance procedure applies, so we would use our electronic flight back to calculate the new landing distance. Slats and flaps slow, cap 3 single only. Okay. Normal brakes and auto brakes inoperative. Okay, there we got it. So it is there on the in-op systems. Okay, cool. Then I would say turn on the ILSs and we can start turning inbound. So give me a heading of 240 to establish on the ILS approach for runway 27 left. The configuration is basically going to go as normal. By the way, nice view of London City down there, isn't it? Okay, back to flying. We're going to configure the airplane as normal, so no special procedures needed. And the approach is basically going to be all normal. The airplane would normally even be able to conduct an autoland with that. However, it is Cat 3 single only, but nonetheless, it is still Cat 3. So you can still even do an autoland with the engine failure in the A320. That's what I call great redundancy. Okay, is there anything else that we forgot? I don't really think so. No. There isn't. Okay, cleared approach. Glide slope localizer blue, Cat 3 single, autopilot 1 and 2. Block star. So we've got a 16-mile final that should be more than plenty. So we passed the Charlie India waypoint at 3000, and then we've got the Fox India at 2500 as the final approach fix. We'll start configuring the airplane in a few moments. Lock. Basically, when the glide slope starts coming alive, that's when I'm going to start extending my flaps. There is absolutely no need to rush. The fire is extinguished. We can always recheck that. And as you can see, fire is extinguished. But on the other hand side, we don't need to fly necessarily slow as well. Some people have the tendency to fly an approach like this on single engine as a stabilized approach by 20 miles out. Normally you don't need to do things like that. Normally it works pretty fine if you just fly it, well, kind of similar to a normal decelerated approach. Maybe start configuring the airplane a little bit earlier. Okay, glide slope alive, flaps 1. Speed check, flaps 1. So, slats and flaps slow, we can see that. It takes a little bit longer than usual to extend the flaps. And the status page comes up again once we start extending the flaps. That's normal. Okay, so that's a very good opportunity, by the way, to do a quick more review of the inoperative systems. So we're missing 2 spoilers. We cannot retract our landing gear. And the number 1 reverser. That's the things that interest us the most over here for our landing. Okay, remove status. So, flaps 2. Speed check, flaps 2. Glide slope, go around altitude 3000 set. Gear down.
2500.
Correct. Runway is up there at our 12 o'clock. Okay, landing gear. Gear not downlocked. Landing gear recycle. If unsuccessful, gravity extension. Okay. Gear up. They immediately go out. Okay. So, gear down. Let's try that once more. See what's gonna happen. Normally, if a gravity extension would be required because of the failure, the airplane would tell us up here in the status page. However, today it didn't tell us, so for that reason I would kinda expect my gear to work. Okay, but it doesn't look like it. You know what? Here we go. Okay, landing gear not downlocked. If unsuccessful, landing gear gravity extension. Cool, so lever up. Let's do the gravity extension.
1,000.
Checked. Okay, flaps 3. Okay, that's all 3 gears get down, so the gear lever can come down. And with that, we are done. Okay, clear to land. We're stable by the 500-foot gate, even though that was a nasty surprise over there.
100.
Okay then, disconnecting autopilot. It is capable of auto-landing, however,
300.
it's more fun doing it manual, isn't it?
200.
Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Retard.
10.
5.
Okay, spoilers, reverse green, manual brakes. Gently bringing it back to the center line. $70 knots. And that's it. That is our little single-engine traffic pattern completed. I do hope that you all enjoyed this one and learned something from it. I would like to say thank you very much for watching and hope to see you all again on the next one. If you liked the video, be so kind to leave a like, as it does help with the YouTube algorithms, and comment to let me know what you think about this one. Finally, if you really love my videos and if you're up for more, subscribe to the channel, and if you can't even put it into words how much you like the videos, how about putting it into a small donation using the Buy Me Coffee link in the video description below. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope to see you all again on the next one, and in the meantime, wish you safe flights and a little more reliable engines.